What's going on, everybody? And welcome to another episode of Fights with Friends.
Fights with Friends.
I am Paul Veracci, and this is my host,
Stephen Kepfer.
We call each other co-hosts? Are we hosts? How does that work?
We're just co-hosts,
We're just
I
co-hosts.
guess.
You're a co-host, I'm a co-host, and together we host.
Two stuntmen, filmmaker, talking film shit with guests, basically.
Like
How's that?
Sounds good to me.
Steve and Paul.
All right. How you doing, everybody?
Yeah, man. So today's episode is pretty cool.
Today is a very good episode. Once again, believe it or not, we have some good friends of ours on.
It is called Fights with Friends, the show, right? I mean, that is the name of the show.
We try our best. We try our best to keep it within.
Maybe one day we'll bring on an enemy, just
Fights with enemies.
Fights with enemies. That one will only be for the Patreon subscribers.
I'm like, I have a couple of people whose names in mind that we could bring on for that show.
I have a few. And speaking of Patreon subscribers, we want to thank our Patreon subscribers, man.
We appreciate all that you do, especially the little bits of money that you guys donate to help our podcast keep going.
I mean, listen, we got some amazing sponsors for this show, but the ongoing infusion of lifeblood from our subscribers, one, helps keep this show going in the long run, but two, is just really gratifying that you guys dig the show and that you're willing to kick in a couple bucks every month
to help us keep going.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We appreciate you. Thank you.
So definitely check the show notes if you want to support the show and what we do and help us, move on to season 2. We're about halfway through season 1. We're getting close.
We are. We got a busy couple of months coming up.
Yeah. And then
actually, wait, hold on. We've had a pretty busy couple of months in the past.
Yes, in the
you
past.
And I. So So what have you been doing the past month?
Me? Worked on a show. I think we talked about it. I was up in Boston, and then you got booked on that same show.
That's right. I did get booked
and
on
ended
that
up in
show.
Boston.
We passed each other in the wind. It was a little upsetting.
Yeah.
But also what's very weird is I'm going to be in the final episode, and you're going to be in like episode 5, and we were shooting at like the same time, right?
Episode 3.
But
they were
even weirder.
They were crossboarding. I've never seen a call sheet. So for those listening, crossboarding means they're filming multiple episodes at the same time.
Yeah.
They're not filming it in a linear fashion.
Right.
So on our call sheet, there were 5 episodes filming at the same time.
That's amazing.
It was a massively long call sheet with tons of people working on the show that I didn't get to see because they were in different locations all over New England. It was crazy.
Yeah, you and I weren't actually even in the same location.
No.
It was crazy. I mean, it was very funny because the stunt coordinator mentioned that he tried, and he's like, I tried to get you and Steve on the same episode. He's like,
well,
it's kind of funny that we have people who are trying to accomplish something that you and I are trying to accomplish, which is like, I want to get Steve.
Well, we appreciate you, stunt coordinator, for even thinking of it. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Totally.
And hopefully at a later date, we'll be able to talk more about.
I think we have mentioned the show.
Did we?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I mean, the show's wrapped. We can mention it. It's Dead City, the Walking Dead spinoff.
Right. We just can't talk about the episode.
Yeah, just won't tell you what happened, but it was a lot of fun. And James Armstrong.
Thank you so much, man.
So much fun. We love working for you.
I'll tell you what, honestly, he's one of my favorite coordinators to work for. I'll just say it out there. I mean, he's so positive. He's such
double
a great
down,
guy.
Dude. Putting it out there.
Yeah, I'm doubling down. James, you are phenomenal. Jack, you're amazing, dude. Honestly, your vibe on
James
set,
and Jack.
walking in to work for you guys made me feel nothing but confidence within myself, which I feel is very important. So I want to thank you guys for that. You guys are awesome.
Cool. Yeah, it was a great time. That is why, if we go back to the Jasper Joyner last episode, why you were calling from a hotel.
Yes, that's
why.
right. I was working on The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
and that's what I was doing.
That's what we do. That is what we do. And today, as we were prepping for this very episode, I booked a couple of days on a show here.
You did that. Yes. You thought you didn't get. And I'm just going to say that I feel like every single time Steve's like, oh, they didn't get booked for this episode, this motherfucker's phone rings like 2 minutes later. And like,
that's my pattern.
You're booked. I think he does it on purpose.
I don't know. Maybe that'll be my jinx or my non-jinx. What's the opposite of a jinx? My good luck charm thing. Yeah.
That's what you're going to do.
Whenever it feels like it's been long enough where I didn't hear that I got it and I start to think I didn't get it, then I get it.
Just as long as you get depressed and down on yourself in front of me.
Well, I do that. I do that. I literally had just did that, I was like, dude, I guess I didn't get that job because I haven't heard. And then the text went off like 10 minutes later.
That's pretty much how it went down. You're
Yeah.
like, oh shit. You're like, I got that work. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, every fucking time.
Yeah. I don't know. It's my thing, man. It's hard to fight the negative in this business. It's hard to fight.
Well, it's not hard to fight it. It's hard not to feel it as negative. It's not necessarily negativity, but it's hard not to take it that way.
It's hard to feel not rejected.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Especially, and the worst is that when you don't get called back to say that you're not working.
Yeah.
I recently got a call from a stunt coordinator, and I appreciated it so much for him to let me know that it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, thank you.
I love when they tell you didn't get it.
Yeah, because now at least I know I can open myself up, and you're not playing that weird game within yourself of like, do I suck? Do I not suck?
Totally.
Was I so bad that he just couldn't even fucking call me and tell me why?
Yeah. Speaking of feedback, we've been asking people to write reviews and like us and subscribe us, and you all should please do that. But we got a couple of reviews.
We do.
We finally got some reviews.
We do, and they're quite well. They're quite good.
Let's. I'm going to read some, share some with you guys.
You're the resident reader of the group. So.
Yes, I read. Yeah. I like reading.
I like reading. I just read slow, backwards, and weird.
This is from listener Fluffy Bunny of Doom. Thank you, Fluffy. Thank you, Fluffy Bunny of Doom. We appreciate you listening. 100%. We appreciate you listening. So 5 stars. This is on Apple. This one. Great look behind the scenes. Great look behind the scenes of the TV and film industry from stunt performers. If you have an interest in filmmaking or just want a fun inside look at the filmmaking process regarding action from the point of view of stunt performers and coordinators, this is a great podcast. This podcast is equally good for people inside and outside the industry, with some great behind-the-scenes stories from performers and coordinators. Stephen and Paul are very, very entertaining hosts.
Oh, nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Fluffy Bunny. And have great interview skills. Overall, great podcast. Thanks, Fluffy Bunny.
I love it. Yeah, and
Thank
Fluffy
you for
Bunny,
listening,
all
dude.
the reviews you want to write, we will accept because I just like saying Fluffy Bunny.
Yeah, Fluffy Bunny.
So, Fluffy Bunny, thank you.
We got another review from P. Thomas 92.
P. Thomas 92.
P. Thomas. This was also on Apple.
It's no Fluffy Bunny, but I'll take it.
So I'm seeing a trend here that the first 2 reviews we got are both on Apple Podcast.
Ah.
Come on, Spotify listeners. We see the analytics. We know that you're listening on Spotify.
Amazon, Apple.
Yeah.
All you people.
Yeah, totally. YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
YouTube music.
Yeah.
And the video.
And the
Both.
video. I was going to say, and the video.
So this is from also 5 stars. This is from P. Thomas 92. Thank you, P. Thomas. Best podcast on screen fighting. If you have any interest in martial arts or action movies, this podcast is a must listen. Steve and Paul have many years of experience in screen fighting and choreography, rooted in their expertise, combat sambo, grappling, and mixed martial arts. They have worked on hits like John Wick and Ray Donovan and know the ins and outs of designing and performing fights for the screen.
Wow. Thank you so much. That was amazing.
We appreciate you, man.
Yeah.
For real. Thanks so much. We encourage everybody, please like, subscribe, comment, and follow us.
Yeah.
And share. All of it. Everything you can possibly do.
All of the things. And also...
And listen, if you give us a shitty review, we'll read that too.
Yeah, we will. And we'll probably laugh our asses off while we're reading it.
Probably.
And also, speaking of Patreon and our reviews, I think we should throw a shout out to some of our sponsors.
Oh, wait. Speaking of reviews and podcast
sir.
reviews.
Yeah, what you got, buddy?
See what I'm wearing here?
I do.
What is
Just
it?
Shoot It.
Just Shoot It. So that is one of my all-time favorite filmmaking podcasts. And I'm wearing their hat because they gave us a plug on their show.
They did. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Matt and Oren.
And by the way, holy shit. You guys are...
Dude, it's great. You're
awesome.
You're closing in on 500 episodes. So listen, as per their show, unpaid endorsement, our listeners, you need to listen to Just Shoot It podcast.
Absolutely.
And support them on Patreon too. For sure. So I'm wearing their hat today because I am a Patreon subscriber to Just Shoot It podcast.
I wish I could say I was, but
you're not. But we recommended you guys on our Patreon because now on Patreon you can actually recommend other other Patreon
But
users.
I'll make you a deal. Just shoot it. If you Patreon with us, I will Patreon with you. Ha ha.
There we go. There's the deal. But I was on the show. So if you go back a couple hundred episodes, I think episode 241 or something like that, I was on Just Shoot It.
That's amazing. I wonder if one day someone will be able to say that with us. If you go back a couple hundred episodes, that is a testament.
Dude, I don't. It is. The fact that
good for you guys.
90% of podcasts don't get past episode 3.
Yeah.
Right. So that you're closing in on 500 is freaking amazing. And they're co-hosts. Like most podcasts are not co-hosts. And I really do listen to how Matt and Oren host a show as co-hosts. And it definitely informs how I approach things here. So we dig you, Matt and Oren. And everybody go subscribe to Just Shoot It podcast. They rock. Dude, sponsors?
Yes, sponsors. Our lovely sponsors. Okay, so let's go with right off the bat, Fight or Flight Entertainment. If you like to fly, if you want to learn how to travel safely through the air, if you even wonder how it is they do some of these amazing aerial acrobatic scenes in movies, Fight or Flight Entertainment is your place to go.
Brett Copes
for knowledge and
expertise, instruction,
all
the stuff you need. Check out one of his workshops. We reshare all his stuff on our Instagram and Facebook, so definitely check out whenever he's got a workshop going on, we share it. So if you follow us, you'll kind of by proxy follow him because we share all his stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's great.
Metro Camera
Cars, man.
They're amazing. Joe Baris. I love Joe. Joe used to train with us. He was one of my favorite faces to see walk through the door at Breakfall.
Joe's awesome.
And to watch him grow and watch this blossom into the amazing
business
that it is. Yeah. Business. That's the word. Over 7 letters. I get a little lost sometimes.
Well, you know.
But yeah, Joe, I do miss you at the gym, I will say. So if you ever can drive on back here,
yes,
please, man, come and train with us, dude. It'd be good to give you a hug and say hi.
Yeah, he's busy. He's going all around the country shooting commercials and driving that camera car with his expert team of stunt drivers and cinematographers.
He is. I mean, we got shots inside the car, outside the car.
Yeah.
I mean, if it has anything to do with the car and filming, Joe can pretty much handle it.
Yep. Hey, did you see on his Instagram, he put up pictures, he's playing for some baseball team.
What?
Yeah. I guess he used to play baseball. I'm going to have to ask him about this. He's in like an Astoria Mets uniform.
Get out of here.
Yeah, for real. So we got to ask Joe about that. Joe, we're going to ask you about that.
Yeah. Baseball.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I don't know. I never knew. One never knows. So Tactical Black,
man. Tactical Black is. I will definitely say that they are pushing their videos. I see lots of great videos with them. People running and gunning, learning how to safely move with weapons. I love Tactical Black.
If you're in LA, you're a performer. You need to learn how to look and move authentically with a firearm in your hand in a safe and cinematic way. Hit up Tactical Black.
Absolutely,
they're great. And of course, where would we be without Stunt Contact?
Oh, I tell you where I would be. I would be walking in a circle with my resume, handing it out to random fucking people.
Dude, Stunt Contact. Bottom line, it's one of the best breakdowns for people in our business.
Yeah, and it's the little things that are great with Stunt Contact that really, really make me like them. It's one of the few websites that are made for us. I really do feel like it's made for us to find out everything we can and everything that is going on.
Yep.
Not made for the coordinators. It is, don't get me wrong, but they really gear towards making sure we have as much information as everybody else out there. Yeah.
And we're not talking about just the stunt coordinator info, but line producer, director, writer, all that stuff is in there. It's production managers. Whatever info they can get, they put it up there. It's a great breakdown. Artist Unknown, dude. Today's episode.
We have 2 phenomenal people on this episode. And what's also...
I'm not ashamed to say 2 of my favorite people in the business.
No, they're not. I love Kerry and Cinder. Yeah, very funny introduction with us. But yes, and also Kerry. I've worked with Kerry. As I brought up before, I had to play a super creepy guy who attacked her, and I was not comfortable playing this role. And if it wasn't for Kerry, I don't know if I would have been able to
Right.
do this convincingly. So yeah, two absolutely amazing people, talented people.
Yeah.
I mean, for Kerry to be such the actor that she is and a martial artist, it's a
Award-winning actor now. This is her first
Award-winning,
feature.
right?
And she's gotten best performance in a couple of festivals.
And when this movie comes out, when you see that this movie is won more than just that, it's won awards,
multiple
all over the place.
Yeah, Broad Humor Film Festival. Jury Prize. I mean, you name it. There's some really Iris Prize nomination.
Mm-hmm.
You name it. Cinder. This is Cinder's first
full-length feature. Right? Are we calling this a full-length feature? Or is it considered a short?
No, it's a feature, man.
It is a feature. Yeah. So it's her first full-length feature, first time ever directing action.
What's a half-length feature? Oh.
Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. I never saw that movie.
Yes. Stop it. Yes, you have.
Yeah, that's true. I did on VHS. But anyway.
Anytime you turn your screen on the reverse.
But Cinder is awesome. First time feature director. Very much worked her way into this business.
Right? Yes, yeah. I love. You'll hear that she has a story of starting in one area, but using it as a segue to.
Yeah, she's been a production manager on lots of big shows.
Yeah,
Jack Ryan, Red Oaks, lots of stuff.
We didn't bring it up, but I'm going to now. She was on a movie called Revenge of the Green Dragons, which was about Chinese gangs in New York City and Flushing. I'm telling you, if you want to see an independent movie that got shitty fucking reviews, that is awesome. Go see this movie.
So she worked her way up, as learned the business by working in the business, and this is her first feature. And just in full disclosure, I am a producer on the movie. Mm-hmm. But I kind of came on. I came on a little. I helped out in the beginning. We rented our space to her, and I helped a little bit with some choreography and stuff like that. But really,
right, you didn't come on as a producer in from the get-go. It happened.
Well, I on paper I did, because I kicked into their crowdfunding.
Okay,
in the beginning,
right.
But later on, after I saw the final cut, and I worked with them, I didn't take a big role in this movie, but I provided the space and I gave them some notes on editing the fight scenes and some choreography notes.
Hey, in case you guys haven't ever realized this before, Steve's being modest, and you're going to find that out during our episode.
Well, anyway, then I went to the cast and crew premiere, and I was just blown away with how good this movie is. And then they went on the festival circuit, kicked ass on the festival circuit, and actually got a lot of offers from distribution agents. And after weeding through the bullshit offers, of which many of them are, from the legit offers, that costs money. And
I'm going to speak honestly, whenever you have a friend, or, even when it's you, it's like, hey, blah, 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 this is an independent movie, come check it out, see it and whatever. You're always apprehensive because you know what you're walking into.
Yeah.
And sometimes the biggest fear you have is watching the movie and not liking it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I watched this movie and I fucking liked it.
Yeah, it's really
good.
I
really, really did. And to the point of where I'm still thinking about it, So just a testament to all of those people out there who have their friends who are like, hey, watch my movie. This is one of those movies that is actually fucking good.
Mm-hmm. And so anyway, I really believe in this movie, so I jumped on to help them, help them make this shit happen, man.
And it's
really
happening.
Fucking good.
It's real, but it's happening though. You guys are very close to distribution.
We're hoping. I don't know. Nothing's been signed yet, but there's some. Listen, this business. This is not about this movie at all. This is just generally the business. It's fucking full of shitty people, and you're gonna get a lot of people preying on desperation to be seen. Mm-hmm. And you're going to, if you have a decent movie, you're going to get offers for distribution, or from distribution agents, or from distributors that are basically going to leave you high and dry with nothing. we own the rights to this movie in perpetuity and through every universe known to fucking every human and alien, and you're going to get nothing.
Just to go to show, like, to the level of what he's talking about, if you want to do some research, look at Rocky and Sylvester Stallone and what he signed when he signed to make the first Rocky movie.
Yeah.
He owns none of the rights to any of those characters. Like, and it's a big, huge ongoing thing. So for all of those people who are out there who are making a movie, the light at the end of the tunnel, every once in a while, it can shine really, really, really fucking bright, and you want to jump and grab it.
And listen, when you're putting your first movie out, there's always a balance of you want it to be seen, but you don't want to be taken advantage of, but you're willing to sacrifice some, so there's this whole balancing act that happens, and you have to work with people that respect your film. And so I think we're in a good place, and hopefully by the time this episode drops, we'll be able to put some links in the show notes where to watch it.
Hope so. Good luck.
I hope so, man. But this is all really a testament to my commitment to this movie is really a testament to how awesome these two ladies are, Kerry Lacy, Cinder Chou, and the whole crew and cast. And we're saying it right here, Little Shifty.
Little Shifty. Oh God.
Little Shifty, we love you.
You stole the show, buddy. You're my favorite.
Yeah. Scene stealer, bro. Fucking great. But anyway, so we have Cinder and Kerry on the show to talk about making your first feature movie that involves some fighting.
Yeah, I think this is a really good interview, and I think any of you who are interested in making your first film, who have any apprehensions or questions, this is going to be a great episode for you to really pay attention to.
Yeah. I mean, we don't get into the nuts and bolts and we try to keep it positive.
But
right?
but we do get into the nuts and bolts of how difficult it is.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't go into detail of all of the subjects and categories, but we definitely give you a feeling of what you're going to get into.
The other thing I think that really shines through in this interview is the importance of finding your tribe and having a strong community behind you, because this movie is entirely possible because of the community that Kerry and Cinder are part of.
I agree, and after this interview, I 1,000% agree with you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so I think with that said, let's toast. Oh wait, what's on the table? We got,
what do you got?
Hong Kong Phooey for no particular reason. Then I took them off my desk this morning to put them on here, and this is a piece of moon rock.
What's that from?
This is from our friend Toy Lee's movie Moon. This is from the Moon set of her, and the reason I have it is because she is friends with Cinder. They attended the same, I think, some directors fellowship together, and Toy had actually invited Cinder years back to attend one of our workshops.
That's right.
And so I at least came to know who Cinder was through Toy. So I wanted something on the table that reflected that connection.
It's better than me, man. I got nothing.
So on that note, let's get to the interview, man. Cheers.
Cheers. Here we go.
To Artist Unknown.
See you guys there. All right. What's going on, everybody? We are here on another episode of Bites with Friends podcast.
With actual friends on the show.
Yes. Actual friends that I remember meeting.
For those watching and listening, like before we were on air, we had that one of those awkward moments where Paul was like, "It's good to meet you," and I'm like, "You met her already." Oh my God, so great to see you guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so great to be here.
So, Artist Unknown.
That's a movie.
That is a movie. That's a thing. That is a thing.
It is a movie. It's a good movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. It was a pleasure watching it.
It was so hard, but yeah, we loved making it.
Yeah, we want to dive deep into that shit, but I want to start with. Let's start with this. I'm going to read you something, and then you guys can just respond, like however you feel like responding.
First thing that comes to your mind, like Family Feud.
Yeah, this is like a Rorschach test.
Okay,
here we go. The bell rings in round 2. Juniper comes in hot and punches again. Jab, cross, push kick to the wall, uppercut to the body. He cowers into the wall, throws a cross. He lands a hit. She backs off. He's off the wall. He comes in with a left haymaker. She bobs, weaves, lands a left hook to the body. She lands a spinning back fist with her right hand. He pops a jab. Juniper backs off and gets angry. She fakes the jab to his head. His arms go up. She lands the jab to the body. Cedric drops his hands. Juniper, not Juniper. Who the fuck? That's because, I don't know, Juniper? Jennifer? Anyway, Juniper gets a right uppercut. Cedric turns and sees Juniper fake a rear roundhouse. He puts his hands up to block. Her kick reroutes into a high kick to the face. He's dropped to the ground. Meg kneels down and counts.
I feel like having him read that and then going back, I feel like the fight felt longer in its like when I was watching it, but you read it so well, it all so great.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So Kerry, what do you think?
I was gonna say the same thing. I was like, wow, that sounds short and easy to film.
Yeah.
It
took you, so the final fight, it took 3 days. How long? I mean, just the shooting, not all the rehearsal and stuff, just the shooting.
Yeah, it took 3 days. I was just gonna say that with the script, that I don't think it was originally scripted like that. We started putting in like what the actual moves for the fight were after we Carrie and Francesca Morabito, our fight choreographer. Yeah, our other friend, they choreographed it together. So we wanted to get a sense of how long the fight would actually be. Even though it does feel longer, we wanted to make it more dramatic than it was on page. But yeah, originally it was scheduled for 2 days, which we quickly realized after day one that it was not going to happen in 2 days. We were moving really slowly because we were filming during COVID and we had a skeleton crew. And the way I'd scheduled it is kind of, the way of normal film production would be, with a DP, a grip, and a gaffer at minimum. But we had only a DP who was also the grip, the gaffer, and focus puller. So we were moving so slowly. And the fight scene was scheduled for day 2, and we didn't have our legs up yet. We were still kind of just, walking with baby steps. And yeah, so then we shot another day and then scheduled a third day. Or we scheduled for the last, actually, did we add a day? Yeah, I think we added a day. It was day 16.
How many days was the entire shoot?
It was 15 and a half days, and then we did a 3-day
like pickup
additional
stuff and
additional photography. I can't even call them pickups because we basically reshot the last 30 minutes of the movie.
So that's pretty crazy though. A 15-day shoot and 3 days for a fight.
Yeah.
So that's a big chunk of your shoot dedicated to this fight.
Yeah, I think the first day was actually half the day because we shot the pre-fight right before that, and there was so much choreography in that because I think there were 6 or 7 characters and we had to, figure out how to, it's Cedric and Lil Shifty entering and the reactions of all the cast. That was actually almost a little bit harder than the actual fight because you have so many people and reactions going on.
Right.
But yeah, it's not a lot of time at all. And going into the last day of shooting, one of my friends, Jay, who plays Lil Shifty, he did a string out for us and then, got all the shots, and we could kind of see what we were missing coverage-wise, and we were missing a lot. I would say, I think we probably shot like 60% of that fight in the last day. But because we also had the experience of doing the whole movie, we kind of knew we were moving a lot faster, way more efficient.
Yeah, all the gears have been oiled by that point, so you kind of knew you had your system.
So
yeah,
when you were shooting the fight, as you brought up, compared to shooting the rest of the movie and how it moved along, did you know before, or did you realize like as you were shooting that you kind of can't just spend like, oh, I'm going to shoot it from this way and I'm going to shoot it from this way and we're going to move on? Like as dialogue, you can really set it up. There's not a lot of things that are changing dramatically unless you really want them to. But as a fight is very, very dynamic. So what I'm wondering is when you go in, we're like, hey, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, next shot. And then where you're just like, wow, we can't do that.
And just to follow up, just for the listeners, this is your first feature, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
first feature.
And
And your first
first
fight.
fight scene.
And your first
yeah,
fight scene.
right. For first sort of action stuff, or did you do any fight scenes in your shorts prior?
I did a Western, so we had a shootout, which kind of did give me a little intro into how much coverage you need for any kind of action stuff. You know, I'd worked in film and TV as a coordinator, so I'd worked on like the Jack Ryan reshoots, and we got a beat sheet, and you know, I kind of like knew a little bit of the lingo, but yeah, definitely doing it yourself is very challenging. But going back to your question about, yeah, I think I realized that I couldn't shoot as much as I wanted to. We had to get the whole thing as much as possible and then really make decisions about what are the most important moments that need to be highlighted within it. We didn't go very crazy with how it was shot, you know, it was pretty much, it wasn't like super locked up, but we did just shoot like the right side of the fight and then the
Mhm.
left side, and then would cut in for, you know, a close up of a impact or something or
Sure.
reaction shot. And I think we might have faked some of those in post too, like punched in a little bit, you know.
And also for people listening, Francesca Morabito, our good friend, who did choreograph it, we mentioned her before in a prior episode talking about our Troy shot-for-shot remake because she saved our asses on that day.
Yes, she did. Without her, we would have been lost.
Yeah, she's awesome. We love Francesca. So what was it like for you as the performer, from the performer side of things on this for this scene, Kerry?
Yeah, it was so different when we first started doing it, and then when we, you know, weeks later shot it again, it felt like a totally different dynamic. I feel like so much just about the story and the arc of my character had been learned in that period of time. Cinder and I were discussing this earlier, how it felt so much more dramatic than I think we first set out for it to be. I think we were almost thinking of more of a slapsticky kind of campy vibe. And then throughout the course of the shoot, we realized that it kind of became pretty intense and gritty and realistic. And just thinking about the actual dynamics between a large man and a smallish woman physically fighting each other, and how high the stakes are. And yeah, it's crazy just the coverage and jumping the lines and having to kind of have one eye on that world, but also not being able to think about it too much to be in the moment and performing. um it's a lot. It's so funny. I just, when you read it, it sounded so simple and short, and it's really not.
But I'm curious. So you guys, so you said that I mean, every script gets rewritten. So you rewrote as you were developing the choreography. When you first were approaching writing this screenplay, Cinder, what were you envisioning originally? Or maybe you didn't have a vision, you weren't sure, or
I wasn't sure what we could accomplish
right.
because, you know, I knew this was, I know how hard action is. I think of all filmmaking genres, I think it's the most technically challenging. So I just didn't know what we were going to be able to achieve and how long it would be. I knew we could only afford to do two fights, one in the beginning, one at the end. I was imagining like a Rocky style end fight, but you know, that's really long. So I was like, how are we going to boil this down into something more manageable? Yeah, I don't know. I definitely relied heavily on Carrie because she had more experience doing her Viola series.
Mhm.
Um,
And for those who don't know, Carrie, yeah, Viola, bad guy right there.
Yep. The
Paul's shit-eating grin that shows up everywhere.
I got to play the creepiest part I've ever had to play.
But so when you were writing it, did you have Carrie in mind, or how did this collaboration come about?
yeah, I definitely did have Carrie in mind. It was during the pandemic, and I really wanted to make a feature, and so I had a simple idea about a woman buying a painting from a thrift store, and then, you know, from there, I saw Carrie on Instagram doing like some spin kicks and stuff because people were like posting a bunch of what they were doing in their homes during the pandemic. And I've seen Viola before in Film Shop. We're both part of a film collective, so I just thought I would never do action because I go, man, that's so hard. Like, I really never thought I would do it. But yeah, so Carrie was a huge inspiration for this. And then so I started writing it before I even told you that I had you in mind. And then I remember I was telling a bunch of people from my director's lab, I go, oh yeah, I'm doing this feature with my friend. I guess I should tell her. I should ask her if she wants to do this before I start writing this entire script. What if she says no? But I didn't think you were going to say no.
Yes, it's a dream come true. I mean, that's all I've ever wanted is for a talented filmmaker to approach me to collaborate on an action film. So,
and yeah, and so people don't know, right, that you're a seasoned martial artist. You've been training for a very long time, like kind of like your whole life.
Yeah,
I mean, a long time. So this is a match made in heaven.
Yeah, that's the other thing is because I come from a more traditional martial arts background. I grew up studying Tang Soo Do. I think a lot of what the fighting style was going to be was really interesting, especially working with Francesca. And we both trained together at a MMA gym. I'm more of a Muay Thai person. She's more of a wrestler and boxer. So just finding the fighting style was really interesting because we're both really inspired by Jackie Chan and that kind of more flary traditional stuff. But then I really became a more of a boxing fight, which was an interesting evolution.
Well, actually, you were reading the script, and I think you were asking me what style is it because it feels like it's all over the. You were like, "Is this kung fu? Is this is this kickboxing?" And I go, I don't know. But I was also wondering what we could do, because I knew you had background in martial arts, but whoever we cast, like, it's not everyone can act super well and do martial arts really well. And I knew that whoever played your opposite, with Penny and Cedric, they would have to have some kind of fight background too, like we couldn't do doubles.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So tell us about the casting process then. I mean, Walker Hare plays Cedric, and he was so good in this movie.
I really enjoyed it.
And I mean, the range that he shows too. I mean, I remember after you showed me the first cut of it, I was like, dude, that one scene when he
grabs her by the throat.
Yeah, the abuse scene was fucking intense, dude. It took like what was like you said, it started out kind of campy, fun, whatever, and it got really real really fast. I was like, holy shit. And he was so good in this movie.
Yeah, he made me laugh a couple times. He had some funny lines too. Pennifer line was hilarious.
That's probably why I fucked up reading it, because we were talking about Pennifer before.
The Pennifer line was so funny, and also because like when I took a second to think about the two characters being Juniper and Pennifer, just kind of made me laugh of hearing that for an hour and a half through a movie. It was even fun. It was really funny. So he was great. So, and he also just get evil really quick.
Yeah.
Like his like, I'm gonna fucking smack you in the face, bitch face is.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah.
So talk about casting. How did he come to you?
Yeah, he's such a great actor. I know him through Film Shop as well. That's how I met Carrie. That's how I met Walker. That's how I met Daryl, who plays Leslie as well.
Right.
But I didn't intend to just cast and work with my friends. A, there's nothing wrong with that. But B, I also wanted to see if if I was being blind and not seeing what the possibilities of this film could be if I didn't try to cast a wider net. So we actually had a casting director, my friend Aaron Schoonover. He's a talented writer-director. He also does casting on Severance and shows like that. So
and by the way, I follow his Substack, and everybody out there should follow his Substack. Just saying.
He's lovely.
Little shout out to him there.
Oh, he'll appreciate that so much. He's wonderful. Yeah, so we did a casting. We looked for a Penny. We looked for a Cedric. I don't know I don't know if people got the tone, but they kind of read it a bit too straight. Like, he's really good at being scary and then immediately shifting into something a bit funny. You know, he's got range, and I knew physically, I wasn't sure what his fighting background was, but I knew he was, you know, he played football, he's a trainer, and I guess yeah. So I talked to him. He has done a little bit of boxing, not a ton, but
But even so, not being trained is good for that character.
Mm-hmm.
it also worked out because he's not supposed to be good. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, but it does look like it fit the tone, right, of a trained, smaller woman fighting the big, brutish, mean guy. Kind of, you know, it was good. It was good.
Yeah, it plays into the misogyny of he's not that good, but he just thinks he can overpower her with, you know, brute strength and
Yeah.
muscle and tallness.
And how did the tallness? He's so funny at rehearsals. He was totally. I don't know. He was just so not like the character, you know.
Oh, he's goofy. Yeah, I did. I wanted to be like focus, but he's really dedicated. He's very good, and yeah, we love Walker.
And how did you find Sonia, who plays Penny? Sonia
Oh,
Mina, for those out there listening. She's in the Hulu show Tell Me Lies. So any fans of Tell Me Lies might know her.
Yeah, so she again, we didn't get through casting, but Kerry, if you want to talk about how we found Sonia.
Yeah, she was on my radar from being in other people from Film Shop's projects, actually. So I'd seen her in something before. I can't even remember what it was, but I think she popped up on my Instagram, and I was like, oh yeah, that actor actually has a good Penny look. And we read with her and just hit it off immediately. And, you know, Sonia's just perfect. And we all became really close friends. And I think our chemistry really was accurate to the characters and really helped it come to life.
It's so cool, like, right? We've talked about this before, like the importance of a strong community. And it seems like you keep bringing it back to Film Shop. And, it's so critical to have that strong community of people you believe in and trust. I mean, is that where we met you through our friend Toy. I met you through Toy, correct?
Yeah. No,
Toy
I met
Lee.
you through Carrie.
You met me through Kerry?
Yeah, Toy invited me to one of your workshops, and I couldn't go at the time. And yeah.
Interesting. In my
Because
brain,
we
I
rented
thought it
your
was Toy.
space. Yeah, we
Yeah.
rented your space for the movie. That was the first time I met you.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I wore Toy's shirt. Well, I'm giving her a shout out anyway
Oh,
for Moon
Toy.
because we love Toy. Toy, we love you. And this is, by the way, this is a piece of moon rock from her set.
Oh, cool.
She gave you that?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. When we were out in LA for Paul's birthday, she gave me a bit of moon rock.
We'll talk about supportive community. It's right here, you know.
Yeah, totally. But we love you guys. But this movie kicks ass. You know, this movie really kicks ass. So you built this relationship with Sonia, and the chemistry is really there on the screen. I mean, the ensemble is pretty amazing.
Oh, we asked Sonia, and her pronouns are she, they, just so we're putting that out there.
Sure.
But we had them read for our table read just out of curiosity, but they were living in LA at the time, so I didn't really want to get committed to them. And then they were so good. They were perfect. They also read it with just some humor and was able to differentiate between fake Penny and real Penny. They're just so talented. So after the table read, I went, I have to fly them out from LA. I go, like, I have to, you know?
Yeah. It was worth it. It was totally worth it.
You knew that's who it was.
Do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We're gonna make a prediction that when this movie gets distributed, you can talk about that if you want, but it's close to that. That we think Little Shifty's gonna have a new fan base. Like we love Little Shifty.
Yes, he was just pretty much every time he was hilarious. Like he reminded me of in Kill Bill when Michael Madsen was burying the bride, his friend that he had, and he was the small little guy, and he was so charismatic, and everything that he did just the screen, it just kind of shined on him, and he reminded me of that character every time he was talking, every time he really just was, in my opinion, he was kind of a scene stealer.
He's
And
totally
he
a
was
scene
really
stealer.
really awesome.
He's a total scene stealer. He reminds me, I heard the story of Steve McQueen and Yul Brynner on the original what do you call it, they made the HBO show about it with the android town. You can go live
Westworld.
Yeah, the original Westworld.
Oh yes,
with Yul Brynner and Steve McQueen, and Yul Brynner started requesting to not have Steve McQueen in his scenes because even non-verbally, McQueen was stealing scenes with his physical acting, and just but Little Shifty. Like every time he came on screen, I was like, oh my god, I love this guy. I love this guy.
That's amazing because I couldn't tell if I just thought he was funny or if other people would. I don't know. I feel like at screenings that I've been to on the festival circuit, there have only been a couple where there's been confusion. I think for the most part, people really enjoy him, especially I think the second time he appears. The first time I think it happened so fast.
Right.
Who's this guy in this black furry jacket?
Oh my god!
And the sunglasses and the steps.
He was so confident within himself. It was just so funny.
It is. It's great. It's great. We love him.
So that character is actually from another movie.
Really? Another one of your movies?
No, it's a really weird story. So Jay is really good friends with Oscar Isaac. They grew up together. So he was assisting him on the card counter. And the costume department created this look and this character for Jay because he was going to be in the background as like a poker player. So I thought he looked so awesome that I created this character that was an art deal or an art forger.
That's hilarious.
Based on this guy's look. And so yeah, we exist in the same world as a polish trader.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
That's awesome. I think that movie's on Hulu.
Wait, I didn't tell you that.
No, I never heard. That's awesome, dude.
The lore.
So we don't want to give too much spoilers, but what's the log line for the movie for the listeners? What's the basic premise?
Artist Unknown is about Juniper, an insecure martial artist who buys a painting from a thrift store and is attacked by two thieves who try to steal it from her.
There you go. Dude, it's awesome.
It really is good. What's great is I'm just gonna, I'm gonna sell it a little bit more. The story is so much more than that, and it's amazing. It's really well written. You did a great job.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah,
dude. Okay, now I need to comment on the soundtrack. The music is amazing. The music is so good, and that's all composed for this film, right?
Yeah. Shout out to Chris Dias, our composer. He's freaking awesome. I had always intended to use surf music in it. I think it just has a kind of absurd vibe, a bit funky, a bit, mysterious. And it served the mystery of, this painting and the rabbit hole that Juniper is going to go on. I don't think a lot of people understood the surf music in the beginning, to be honest. I think my editor was like, I don't understand why, but okay. But it was hard to find temp surf music because it's so fast and you really need music that's in movies to ebb and flow with the pacing of the movie. And it's really hard to just put needle drop music in there. But yeah, it was all composed. We actually, for the opening scene, we used a cover by the Messer Trups. They're a Russian surf band, and it was a cover of Charade, the theme song, which I forgot that it was the theme song for Charade until the composer goes, "Oh, it's Henry Mancini." Who's
that?
Cool. But yeah,
I didn't pick that up. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I also met him through a film shop again. I was looking for a composer, and one of my friends, Andrea Ashton, recommended him because he did music on Rockaway, which Sonia was in. And he's in a surf rock band. He also does music for, I can't remember his name right now, but the guy who started Blue Man Group. So he has like a really great combination of skills. And we also used music from the Mysterics. I think that's their name, a Friends band. So we have one of their songs in there too, and one of Carrie's friends' song, Lily Jeanette, which is not a surf song, but yeah.
But if he composed for Blue Man Group, that would make me think that he's really good at composing music for movement, right?
Totally, because I was trying to work with a band to compose music, but I realized that writing songs is not the same as writing songs for music. It's yeah, it's a different brain.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of music, Carrie's a DJ. Did you know that, Paul?
I did know. Of course, I knew that.
That's her whole other life. Where are you DJing right now? Let's give a plug.
I'm DJing tonight, which will be gone by the time this airs, but at Fairfield Road. I DJ at Union Pool and Ore Bar. I was doing some gigs at the new Chelsea Market location. Yeah, mostly just bars around the neighborhood, the local scene.
Cool. But did you work with Cinder on any aspect of the music of the movie?
No, that was all Cinder, but I'm totally on board. I love the surf vibe. I think it's perfect. It's perfect for the action, and then it can get moodier and go into like the darker worlds of the film so kind of seamlessly. Thought it was a really good choice and really unique and really strong, and it just works.
I think people were confused by the tone and how it fits. Like, I think a lot of people in the beginning asked what's the tone of the movie, and I was like, I don't know, it's funny. Like,
but it does have that kind of, like you said, like that campy-ish, almost like Curb Your Enthusiasm kind of sound to it.
You did tell me that it was going to be surf music, so I did have that in mind while we were filming.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, talking about sound, when it comes to, just in your opinion, when you were watching the fight before you added in sound effects, that's okay. So this is kind of where I'm going with that. How much do sound effects help the hits sell? Like, as someone who's kind of, your first time really watching the editing process of a fight, I'm assuming, when you were seeing that all come together and you were just like, shit, I don't know if this is going to work. And then all of a sudden the sound's in there and it's like, and you're like, ooh, okay. Yes.
100%. We had we had watched a bunch of cuts without it, but it's hard finding the perfect sound for the hits too, because some of them, I mean, we must have listened to so many, and some of them were like too thud or too, it's got to be the right sound.
Like too cartoony or too Hollywoody.
Credit to all those people that sit in the booth with all the instruments and make all those different sounds, and they have all these files. You'd be amazed what they use to make one sound, and it's never what it actually is.
But then, because there's so many cuts, so many punches happening in succession, if you keep using the same one, it sounds not right either. Like, it just sounds like so fake, like,
Right.
I remember a sound designer I worked with one time telling me that he would just be punching different things, trying to get it right. And he said, raw chicken sounds a lot like a real punch. So we would just be punching raw chicken. Yeah.
That'll be in the next Rocky reboot. Like, chase the chicken, catch it, and start, pluck it raw and start beating the shit out of it.
Rocky.
Yeah, totally.
Wear my Rocky shirt today.
So you mentioned
nice.
Oh, perfect. Look at that.
That's one of my favorite. That's like one of the best scenes.
Yeah,
I know.
Totally.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, Cinder, you were doing production coordinating. So how did you get into this whole world? Let's go back. Let's go back into history. How did you get into this whole film world?
Well, when I was younger, I was really into drawing and painting, so I did that most of my life, and I was really into comic books, graphic novels, and then around high school, my friend David Yoon, he's really into film, so we would go home and watch a movie every day after school, just like loved it. And then he started making shorts, so I kind of got it from him. I got the filmmaking bug, and I didn't really pursue it in college. I did visual arts and art history with the concentration in film, so I still was continuing filmmaking in college, but not in like a traditional film school. And both my film professors were experimental filmmakers. We're watching and making some really weird stuff. But
I gotta ask, weird as in how?
painting on film, like Stan Brakhage stuff, like you're just no sound, just watching it scratched film roll through a projector kind of stuff that makes you just your eyes want to bleed and
Your eyes
but
want to bleed just like the
I'm
film
like,
is.
my ears want to bleed. No.
but it's cool. It's very much about like film formalism and timing and all that stuff. And then I started interning on movies during college. I decided to pursue that instead of any other track. Like art history is super competitive, and yeah, so yeah, more competitive than film, if you can believe that. But yeah, I started interning on different movies. One of the first ones I worked on was a movie called Afterlife with Christina Ricci and Liam Neeson. And I was a production office intern. And I think that department I do think sometimes departments pick you depending on your personality, and I'm pretty organized. So I just kept getting hired in the production office. And I slowly worked my way up after a few years. And then I started production coordinating when I was about 25. And it was a movie called Sleepwalk with Me. That was my first coordinating movie. But yeah, I did that, and it took so long to be able to make enough money, save up, and make films again, and to take the time off of working because it's such a grind and a
Sure.
hustle. But yeah, and then I made I think my first short film after college in 2013, and then from there I made like three more after that, and then Artist Unknown.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I learned so much from the coordinating side. In the production office, you are one of the first ones hired. You're one of the first last let go. I mean, I wasn't too familiar with post. That's like a whole nother world. But yeah, I've seen so many films just come together from start to finish. So I knew what meetings need to happen. I don't necessarily know like what the content of those meetings are, but
Like
you know,
logistics meetings and all of those things.
production meetings, tech scouts, director scouts, tone meetings, yeah, all that stuff.
So, but
All the different color sheets, the white sheets, the blue sheets, the yellow sheets. Did you have to go through all that? Like they're like, oh, here's
Blue,
the first version, second
the
version, third.
color wheel,
Like,
yes,
yep.
blue, pink, yellow, green, goldenrod. That's those are the double
yeah,
white.
we
You
read
want to
from the
get
pink. We read from the pink
Right.
version.
When I was doing my production stuff with Disney, I got to be part of all that stuff. It's amazing, all of the
yeah, it's
behind
so
the
much.
scene things that it takes to make a production work before you even get to set.
It's so much communication with all the departments, making
Cool.
sure everybody's doing the same thing,
Yeah,
Mhm.
which
making the same movie.
I was gonna say, like making your first full length feature. When you make a short and um, all of the things that you forget and that you don't do when you make a short, and then you realize that you can't go back and do again. Then you have to go and you have to make a feature, and you have to have all of these departments, all of these things, all like how did you attempt to wrangle all of that?
Oh gosh. Well, we didn't have big departments. We knew we had to keep it small.
Mhm.
We knew we
But
just had to
even with small departments, people still have to do those other jobs.
100%. Everybody did double, triple duty. I mean, we just kind of divvied up all the roles. I mean, I was kind of like the main producer. Lauren Lamel came on after, but she was pretty new to it, so I was kind of trying to teach her as we were going along. So yeah, I was producing, making the schedule, making the budget. Kerry was is the actor in it. She did art department, wardrobe, Jesse did double triple duty too, and he was yeah. So
That's
because
Jesse
of
Sperling was the cinematographer.
And this is a full feature. Like look at all the work, all the double duty people just pulled on the production we were just involved in.
Yeah.
And that was 4 days, and you and I together were involved in 1 day. I don't even want. Wow, that's a testament just to you and all of the people on this project, and how much work you put into to really make it come together as well as it did. That's awesome.
it's like kind of an impossible task, but I think I think with filmmaking, it's always about simplify, 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 simplify. I think people always try to overcomplicate it, and I'm like, it's gonna get complicated on its own. So yeah, try to simplify as much of the elements as possible. So, that started even in the script writing process. It's all location, location, location. So if you can streamline and shoot in like three for a feature film, so it's really hard to not think about that while you're writing and just like focus on the story. But I mean, if you want to do a feature that's a short film, you kind of have to, and that did involve the script writing process. Like, it is a hybrid movie because I couldn't go the full story beats of what an action movie is. It's like usually there's the beginning fight, there's the inciting incident, there's like the appearance of the bad guy, and then the training, and then so we have elements of all of that, but we couldn't do it fully. And then then we introduced the romance, but then I couldn't do a rom-com in its full extent because it's like you meet and then they go on like hundreds of dates, and like that's pretty traditional story beats for rom-com. So it's like we couldn't satisfy both of those genres successfully with the budget, so we had to kind of just like take pieces from it.
I also wanted to say I liked how your training montage showed progression, and it wasn't just a bunch of moves for a montage, that there was actually a progression of learning. And I just wanted to say that some movies do it, some movies don't, but I wanted to say that I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. That was based on the training montage in Enough, the J-Lo movie.
Ah, J-Lo.
I like that. They did that also in what was it? Silent Night, the John Woo movie that just came out.
There's a new John Woo movie?
Yes, there is. With God, what's his name? The guy who plays Colonel Flagg.
We can go down this John Woo rabbit hole, but there's the new
anyways
the new Killer series on Peacock.
There's a new John Woo movie out. It's basically the main actor has he gets shot in the throat. He has no lines through the whole thing, and he goes to avenge his family and fucking destroys everybody. It's awesome. But through it, there's no polish to anything he does. Like they really do a good job of showing that he's not trained, but has drive, and that even when he gets into it, he's not trained and whatever. So their progression kind of stops as it goes into the fight, as opposed to where you have an ability and you've honed your ability and it shows you working on those little pieces. This was a little bit different, but so I wanted to say that I appreciate the fact that you were a trained person who learned other things in their montage. So it wasn't like you were learning A to B, you were kind of learning, B to C. And it was nice to see the advanced development.
And specifically training to fight a specific body type too. I think appreciate some love for the training montage. I had so much fun with that.
Thinking about that, I think this training montage is, for me, different. It's more of an emotional training scene, which I think resonates with a lot of women who are in this world, because it's not so much the ability, it's what we're told and what we tell ourselves that we can and can accomplish,
Totally. Building the confidence.
What was it about, Kerry? What was it about that montage that really stuck with you?
I think Paul touched on it with the progression. It just felt like so important and such a like a physical metaphor for what the character's going through emotionally, like growing and finding the strength and the confidence.
And it showed when you first started your hands, you were not confident behind your hands, and then towards the end of it, you were very confident behind your hands. And it was awesome.
And you mentioned earlier, Kerry, the evolution, the more you knew Juniper, her character, and how the choreography changed and how the fight changed. Tell me how you take what was originally written, and then what's your approach to I'm not sure exactly what I'm trying to say. I'm not finding the right words, but I think it's so important that the character, I know what it is. It's about telling the goddamn story. So it's like bringing this character into the fight, so the fight makes sense for that person. What was that evolution that happened for you throughout the filming of this? Because you did mention before that it changed, right, as you knew Juniper better.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's kind of the classic hero's journey where, she realizes that she had what she needed all along. Um, that she did want to be a fighter and she was afraid to admit it, from societal pressure about like gender identity and stuff like that. And then as the stakes get raised and it's almost that she doesn't have a choice and she has to step into this and become who she always was meant to be. And we mentioned before the scene with the choking scene with Walker, and I think seeing how that was filmed and how scary and realistic it was really raised the stakes, that there was a lot to protect and a lot to fight for. And it wasn't just, I've been taking these martial arts classes, so let me put them to use. It was like, I actually need to fight for something that I love.
Yeah, there was definitely a reason to be stepping into that world as a fighter. I mean, I was going to ask the question before, and I'll bring it up now. The fact that you went to art school, not film school, Cinder, how did that, if at all, like how did that affect you, the way you look at a frame when you're shooting film now? Like, like did you feel that you had a different way of looking at an image based on the fact that you came from a sort of visual art still image background moving into film? Or
Yeah, I mean, I didn't actually go to art school either. I went to a liberal arts, but I ended I like even I try I feel like I'm always doing something that I think is more traditional and then I'm always going to the art stuff anyway, but that's kind of like filmmaking for me too. Even making this movie, I'm so comfortable in the practical logistics side of it because I've been doing it so long that I would do all the scheduling and the budgeting and stuff and then I would forget about doing the artistic stuff, so sometimes it does fall by the wayside, unfortunately, and it's actually because of Carrie that we have a color palette for this movie. The color palette is like red, blue, and yellow. So yeah, it definitely has more of that visual look, and
Oh yeah. I'm like,
yeah.
fuck. I'm like, I watched it last night. I was like, so I visually in my brain, this is all very fresh, and now I'm like, oh yeah.
I personally think for me, my framing, I think is my weak point.
really?
Yeah,
I thought the frames were great. I really
yeah.
do. Like even with the background shots and the city, I honestly, it was something in my head that I noticed. I was like, wow. I was like, the opening of these of your shots are framed beautifully. And I really
Thank you.
and I, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm probably not giving myself enough credit. I do, I, yeah, I like to look at photos. I like to look at paintings all the time. So, I mean, it's probably working maybe more subconsciously than I realized. But Jesse and I did talk we did shot list a lot. I mean, I got COVID 2 days before we started filming, so we pushed 2 weeks. But that time gave us more time to prep. But yeah, because Jesse and we were about to start filming, and Jesse and I hadn't done any like discussions. So we managed to get that all of that out of the way.
Are you just a shotless person, or did you storyboard it too?
Only storyboarded a couple of scenes because I didn't have time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we I finished the first draft of the script in November 2020, and then we were filming in March 2021. So it wasn't
Mm.
really that much time to pull it all together.
And the color palette we have Carrie to thank for,
And the costumes.
and the costumes.
That was another thing in terms of like the character arc. We talked about Juniper wearing a lot more like yellow, and just like getting more red as it progressed, and like the anger grew and accepting the anger and the power. So I think it's all just a testament to the script. Even what you were saying about the frames is just I think Jesse and I both really just loved the script and so wanted to make it be representative visually of what you had written. And so it all kind of works together in this way, like chemistry.
Some of the frames to me very painting like the scene in the diner,
Mm-hmm.
the scene where
Oh yeah.
I just love that, the way that's shot.
I was gonna say the scene with the two of them on the roof.
Mm.
I was like, oh, that to me, I was like, oh, that's like a picture. When at first I was like, oh, it's yeah.
I really hope that by the time this episode, we're recording this in July, and it's gonna drop in October. So hopefully we'll be able to put links in the show notes in October of where people can see this movie.
Hopefully, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I storyboarded the first scene and then that choking scene too, like scenes that were very that I needed to kind of get into. Like, where are we seeing this from? Whose perspective? Yeah, so not all the scenes, but I think some of the ones that were more
I
confusing.
have a random question. Can you guys explain to our lovely audience what Steve's involvement in this was?
What, mine?
You have an involvement. You have a small involvement in this movie.
I'm a cheerleader.
Let's not shy away. Let's give our other host the, like you were involved with this. You
a little. You can see behind us. They did their rehearsals here.
More than a little.
Not just a little. Are you kidding me?
Come on.
See, you dick.
I didn't write it. I didn't
knew it. Go ahead, ladies. How did Steve help you guys out?
Steve became involved because we were renting your space for some of the rehearsals, but we also knew that we needed help with some of like the submission and grappling aspects. Specifically, what was it called? We called it the double reveal, when Juniper realizes that Penny is the thief, and then Cedric realizes that, oh shit, Penny actually can fight, and then Cedric's trying to get the painting, and then Penny stops him. But how does she stop him? Because of Stumbo Steve.
Yeah, the little alleyway, like what was it? It was like a street alleyway scene.
Yeah,
that was a great fight, and
yeah.
I with the painting, that was I like that.
Yeah, I think because of budgetary restrictions partly, but also because we were shooting during COVID and we had to keep our crew as small as possible. So we weren't able to have like a true stunt coordinator, which was incredibly challenging given how green most of us are with shooting action. So Steve being beyond generous with his time and advice was huge.
Well, anything for my buds?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Come on, man.
I love watching that scene when you're teaching Walker or Sonia how to take down Walker, because you gave us a couple options. One of them you were like, and then she kicks his leg out and he just falls on his face, and we were like, yeah.
Yeah, we'll Matt, our video editor, will look for that in the assets. We can drop it in the,
I'll drop it in. Don't you worry.
Oh, yeah.
I've been waiting. I've been holding on to this one.
Kick the leg and drop it in. So Kerry, Cinder kind of found her way to this world. You were kind of born into this world, no? This world of acting and film and stuff?
Yeah, I guess so. My parents are both actors, so I had always grown up doing theater and having a love of acting. And I also.
But did you know from the beginning you wanted to follow in the footsteps, or were you like, fuck that acting shit, I want to do my own thing?
I think almost the opposite. I started off being like, oh yeah, I'll just follow in their footsteps. And then as I got older and became my own person, I kind of veered away from it more. But it wasn't until I kind of married my two loves of acting and martial arts that it started to really come together for me. My mom took me to sign me up for a ballet class when I was 6, but it was right next door to the karate studio, and I thought that looked way cooler. And so that's, always a moment where my life could have gone a different direction.
But you still did the ballet?
No.
Oh, you grabbed her hand and said, no, let's go next door.
That looks way cooler. And luckily she said, okay, you can take those classes instead. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Very cool. And here you are all this time later.
Making action movies.
That's it.
Friends.
Yeah. What do you guys got in the future plans? Anything?
Yeah, I'm writing a script. It's called Rise of the Cat Mummies. That one I'm just writing for fun. But
so
it's about
cat mummies, like mummies, like
yeah, like they
mummies?
mummified.
Not
they
like
mummified cats and stuff.
Not
so
mommies.
Not mommies.
Mummified mummies. Yeah, they mummified mummies. So it's like what happens when an army of undead cat mummies are released upon New York City. So slowly working on that just for fun, and then I'm trying to get my second feature off the ground, Mrs. Softy, which is based on my summer driving an ice cream truck in New Jersey.
That that's awesome.
Oh man, I hear an ice cream truck and I just think deep dark thoughts. Like that music scares the shit out of me. It's so creepy.
It is creepy.
It makes me
yeah.
think about fucking clowns and murder and all kinds of fucked up shit.
There's like serious ice cream truck wars that go on, like turf wars.
Wait, really?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in New York City for sure.
New
It's
York
like
City, like the New York one, and then the Mr. Softy.
Is that like an ice cream truck mafia?
Kind of.
Yeah, they definitely. If one of them's in the wrong territory, I think the other ice cream trucks surround it and like beat the shit out of the truck.
I wonder.
Stuff.
I wonder what.
Get
Like,
out.
do they have like warning music? I wonder what that sounds like.
Oh.
I used
It's
to
been like,
drive
oh
a coffee
shit, they're playing. We
and
gotta run.
yeah,
Wait, say that again, Kerry. What?
I used to drive a coffee truck, the mud truck, and we were supposed to close at, I think it was 5 p.m. And there was a Mr. Softy truck that came and took our spot. And they were very territorial, very mean.
Dude, the mud truck down in the village?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, I used to go there all the time. I probably got coffee from you.
probably. Yeah, I worked there all
Wow.
the time. But one time the truck wouldn't start, and the Mr. Softy guy was like, you need to leave. And he was so mean to me.
Oh my gosh.
Did you ever see Anchorman?
Yeah.
When all of the different news, they all met in the park and they got in the big battle royale. I am now picturing that with ice cream and softy trucks and coffee trucks.
Oh
Where
my god.
fix them.
So, but Cinder, you wrote that story prior. I mean, this has been kind of hanging around this story for a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was supposed to be my first feature. I wrote it to be low budget, and then I realized that's not a low budget movie at all. You know, you always think that it's gonna be low budget, but then it's really very hard to make a story something you can film by yourself without tons of money. Movies are so expensive. I don't think any of us realize, even us who work in this industry, you know?
Well, that's why we all have other jobs.
Yeah.
And then when you hear like, oh yeah, they made an indie film, it only had a budget of $1 million, and you're just like, only independent? Like what?
Yeah.
And then you think about what $250 million in a movie.
Yeah, big time.
Like that's and sometimes the $1 million movies are better.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think the lower the budget, the more creative and collaboration practical and people are maybe still in it for the love of it and not just for, I think you're like, not that like, for example, the Fall Guy is not art, but I think like the lower the budget you get the more people about the art of filmmaking, as opposed to like, we're just going to make this big blockbuster thing that's going to generate money for the studio or whatever. I mean, I love working on student films, low budgets, all that stuff, because I just feel like it's much more collaborative, much more creative. It's just a more fun experience on that level,
Are you excited at all that this could possibly propel you into I mean, you got a lot of awards on this. There's a lot of great, amazing, positive feedback on it. So
both of them got awards.
What of your yes, of course,
for performance and for writing and directing.
But have you ever put any thought towards like how you would approach directing a project that's not yours? When someone's like, "Hey, I saw this. This was great. I have this project. I want to bring you in," and now you have to bring somebody else's words and somebody else's vision. Have you thought about like that at all?
I have directed one short that wasn't my writing, and it's almost harder because I can't totally figure out how it's supposed to sound or what the tone is or that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, the other thing I am working on, I'm preparing to shoot another short for Film Shop. We do a Film Shop Presents every year where the collective picks a theme and we make 5 to 6 minute short films. It's supposed to be just kind of a quick exercise. So I'm directing something that's not my writing right now, and it'll be fun.
Can you since I feel like this episode is definitely like a film shop commercial. Like can you tell us a little bit what is Film Shop? Explain it to the listeners, like what is Film Shop?
Do you want to?
Sure.
Both of you can take a crack at it, you know.
It's a nonprofit collective of independent filmmakers. It's been around for 15 years, I think, and it's growing. I think we have 5 or so different chapters in New York, and then newer additions in New Orleans and Los Angeles. And we've recently separated into narrative and documentary because we have both, and they've grown large enough. And it's just a great community. Everybody gives each other feedback on their work, and you get a chance to present. We have people come in and give lessons and lectures from all different aspects of the industry. And yeah, it's a great organization.
Cool. It's like a guild. Sounds like a guild almost.
It,
I mean, like,
it's possible for me to make every project I've ever made. Basically, I didn't go to film school. I feel like this basically was my film school.
Way more supportive too.
Yeah.
How did you guys get involved with Film Shop?
See, I think I was working doing some art department work for some films for filmmakers who were involved, and they told me about it. And it was around the same time that I started to have the idea that I wanted to make Viola. I started writing it and thinking about it a little bit. And I was amazed how, as soon as I got involved, how many people were willing to help me make a movie for no money. And I'm still doing it. I have the third one written and ready to go. I'm gonna look for funding for that. So it really like launched me on this journey. I think filmmaking is so daunting because it is so expensive and it's so much work and involves so many people. So it seems really impossible, and it went from seeming impossible to being something that's doable, which is difficult. But
so as an actor and as someone who writes and directs your own films, which do you actually prefer? Do you like to just come on film and been like, oh God, please, somebody just tell me what the fuck to do. Just tell me what the fuck to do. I don't want to think. Or do you really involve like, I want to get in there. I want to do it. I want to be part of this. I want to be part of that. Like, let's go.
Yeah, I think that I love acting, but only when it's something that I really care about. And so much of being a career actor is, doing stuff for a paycheck or stuff that is corny and stuff you don't want to do. So I really like making my own work. As long as I'm working with people that I really love and trust, that's the work I want to be doing. But I would like to direct more. I've only directed one short, and I also was acting in it, so that was very challenging. But I would be interested to direct something that I'm not also in. Yeah, I think that's the next step for me.
Awesome. How can our viewers, listeners, fans, subscribers?
I'm on Instagram. I think that's my main social media.
What is it, a handle? Is that what it's called?
My handle, it's just my name, Kerry_Lacy.
Cool. We'll definitely put it in the show notes.
Cool.
Cinder?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram as well. It's Cinder Blockade. And then if you want to follow our film, Artist Unknown, it's at Artist Unknown Film.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. You guys rock.
You rock.
We rock.
You rock.
We all rock.
Very cool. Yes.
We're all rocks.
A lot of first. First podcast. First double guest podcast. First feature. Awesome.
I also just want to say that I don't know if I've ever thanked Kerry for making me feel so comfortable playing the creepiest guy I've ever had to play in my life. I don't know if I could have done that with anybody else. And so I just wanted to say that you're awesome for that. Like,
I just love casting the nicest guys in the world as the because I'm comfortable too, because I know that you're not a creep, so I can let you be creepy in this team.
Thank you. I think
you were totally creepy. You're totally creepy.
I remember when we got done with that scene, and then I was like, oh great, I get to like go home and take 7 showers and feel so much better about myself and wash this off. And then as I'm walking into holding, the sound guy comes up to me and he puts his arm around me and he's like, hey man, he's like, That line you said was really, really fucked up. He's like, "Is there any chance you could just come in the park and sit and say it a couple of times so I can make sure I get it?" And I was like, "Damn it!"
No.
Between each take would just give me a big hug and be like, "I'm so sorry. I'm being stuck."
Oh my God. Well, we'll put the link. We'll put the link to Viola in the.
Yeah, I'll send that.
You
In
got
the
to
show
end it
notes,
with a
too.
nice tornado kick, though.
Yeah.
It's true. Well, it's
Very cool.
very convenient when the actor is also the fight choreographer.
Huh.
Really helps.
Cool. So this was great, man. We've
eaten up our time. Holy shit!
we're
we
in
have.
I think we're in the negative numbers. We're doing great, man. You guys rock.
Oh.
We could talk all day.
I know. I could just
Fun.
Yeah.
talk and talk and talk. We got great hosts, though. You know,
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
you guys are asking really
awesome.
interesting questions.
We try. We try.
I think there are things I've talked about that I haven't talked about before. So
Sweet.
What is your favorite color?
Yeah. Red. No, blue. Ah! Cool. We got to wrap it up, but you guys rock.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
This was
Yeah,
involved.
Thank you so
you.
much for coming on the show. This was great.
Yeah, man.
I can't wait to see
I'm
you guys
honored
again.
to be on the same show that Becca GT was on. I'm a huge fan. I just watched the first one. She's so cool. You guys
Yo,
are
Becca
so
rocks.
cool.
Becca's the best.
Becca is the best. Becca is the best. Still the number one viewed episode in our short history as a podcast.
Wow.
Yeah. People love Becca. I mean, we love Becca. Listen, when we were talking about starting the podcast, she hit us up and was like, "How can I help?
Mhm.
What can I do?" You know?
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's one of our favorite people in the biz.
Yep.
Also, working on a feature screenplay of her own and doing, she's more than just a stunt person.
When I was a coordinator, I worked with her before and I saw her reel. So I've been keeping tabs.
Her home life is amazing. Just the farm and the driving and the animals. She is one of the coolest.
Dude, she
fucking
and
people on
her
the
husband
planet.
Matt, like they live on this awesome property in Pennsylvania with a car garage, and they just paved a whole road on their property so they could practice sliding their cars and stuff on their property. I mean, it's pretty.
Yeah, it's great.
Pretty good life they got there.
So cool.
Yeah. All right. We're going to wrap it. Say adios to our listeners. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye.
Everybody follow these wonderful filmmakers. We'll put all their info in the show notes. And we'll see you guys when we see you guys.
See you on set, guys.
Later.
Yeah, see you
a
on
good one.
set.
Yeah, totally. Bye.
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 Fights with Friends is brought to you by Breakfall Studios and Press Record Studios. Executive producers Stephen Kepfer, Paul Veracci, and Tiago Benedetti. Produced by Richard Butler. Associate producers Becca GT and Jared DeCrose. Our video editor is Matthew Kaplowitz. Original music by Aru Luster.